And welcome to National Focus for April 4, 2024. I am Aaliyah Martin in the headlines. Government reiterates its commitment to the Petite Savanna Delice Link Road. Ministry of Education to include Creole in new regional syllabus. And work to commence on restoring access to Foria Bay area. The details of the headline stories and more when we return.
Ride safe, wear a helmet, safer roads in the nature aisle. This message was brought to you by the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Welcome back. The government of Dominica is poised to continue efforts to re-establish the Petite Savanna Delice Link Road, which was destroyed by Tropical Storm Erica in 2015 and further devastated by Hurricane Maria. Parliamentary Representative for Petite Savanna constituency, Honorable Julan Defoe, says it has always been government's intention to re-establish that lifeline for the people of the southeast.
The devastating effects of Tropical Storm Erica in 2015 led to the displacement of most residents of Petite Savanna and the destruction of the road which linked the community of Delice. Following the disaster, the government of Dominica gave the assurance that Petite Savanna residents would be relocated and the access route to Delice and other southeast communities would be re-established. In the first phase, the resettlement of the Petite Savanna community in Bellevue-Chopin was prioritized with the construction of 353 housing units funded under the Citizenship by Investment program, which was completed in 2019.
Based on the advice of the engineers, government elected to delay the commencement of the project.
The government of Dominica elected to delay the reconnection of the Petite Savanna and Delice based on the advice of engineers, as it was prudent to allow sufficient time for the affected areas to naturally stabilize and be monitored. Notwithstanding this delay, the government stays true to its commitment to the people of Petite Savanna and La Plaine constituencies, being fully aware of the inconveniences in transportation and access caused by the damaged road.
To reinforce government's commitment, the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, the respective parliamentary representatives, interest groups and residents from both constituencies conducted a site visit on January 21, 2023, holding discussions with stakeholders to chart the way forward. A number of initiatives have been undertaken with the goal of reconnecting the communities,
including road clearing costing $2.6 million and construction of the Bagatelle Bridge at a cost of $2.5 million. The parliamentary representatives have recently expedited efforts to restore access, having conducted a site visit on March 19, 2024, accompanied by engineers and residents of both communities.
A follow-up visit was conducted on April 4, 2024 to finalize logistical and other matters.
Thereafter, constituents will see mobilization for the construction of the crossing to create vehicle access to Delice through Petite Savanna. We thank the people of the Petite Savanna and Delice constituencies and neighboring communities also for their patience and seek their cooperation in our ongoing effort to address this matter.
Senior Education Officer Ms. Candia Robinson is happy to see the inclusion of Creole in the national reading competition. This as the Ministry of Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training and National Excellence is currently taking strides to create a new regional syllabus that includes the Creole language. The theme for this year's national reading competition is Reading and Creole, which falls in line with DBS's mandate to preserve the Creole language.
One of the important things I notice is happening this year in 2024 is the inclusion of the Creole language. I'm not too sure if DBS knows this or the listening audience knows this, but we are now embarking on writing a new regional curriculum for primary schools. And one of the things that is being stressed is to ensure that we incorporate our students' mother tongue, their mother language. And so the idea of incorporating Creole into the reading competition, I don't think it's part of the competition per se, but it will help our students to at least gain knowledge of the Creole language, appreciate that as part of our culture.
She says the inclusion of Creole in the competition and in the national syllabus will help the youth appreciate the language and its culture.
Creole is not something that is spoken, extensively in Dominica, especially people in Roseau. A person like me from Roseau, I don't know much, Creole, I'm being honest. My family is from Marigot, so you'll understand. Okay? Not that they spoke Kokoi to me either. I'm assuming that Kokoi is going to be part of it. All right? But because when they want to pong their little beef, they speak their Creole or they speak their Kokoi. So as a child, you turn your back and walk away because you feel like, they don't want me to hear their business, But the reading competition brings about the students being exposed to narratives, as stories, that will help to activate their imagination, because the first thing that students engage in as learners, early learners, are parents reading stories to them. Whether it's fairy tales, whether it's folklores, this is something that is supposed to activate their imagination. So we hope that when they read that in mind, knowing that the intonation, the excitement is there.
Ms. Robinson says with the participation of all 58 primary schools on island in the reading competition, the inclusion of Creole will ensure that more of the country's youth are exposed to the language at an earlier age.
Another aspect is, I think, news and sports. And I'm happy about that because not only do you want to activate their imagination, but you also want them to be aware of current events, whether it's national, whether it's regional or international. And as I said, the Creole, which I hope will encourage them to embrace their culture. I know that the Ministry of Education, we have our Creole spelling competition, but that's a bit different, where you have very few schools actually partake in this competition because there are few schools where Creole is almost like their main language. Not their main language, but it's the language of their community. So for example, in the South and in Northeast and these places. Okay, so thank you, DBS Radio, for your continued support, your continued investment in the Ministry of Education. And I hope that, we have another 16 years in this collaboration and this partnership.
Efforts are being made to make the Foria Bay area more accessible for fishermen, residents, and visitors. Foria has established its reputation as a premier fishing community, even if most of the actual fishing currently takes place in store. In spite of the site at Foria remains significant for social and recreational uses, for residents of the community as well as FAB, bagatelle, and visitors.
And so as you can see, the area, at the moment, it is inaccessible to residents and not conducive for, not even for the basic things such as having a simple sea bath. And the reason for that, of course, it is inherent, being on the Atlantic side, every hurricane season would have a number of storms passing through.
The current challenges accessing the bay presently are a result of storm surges associated with past hurricanes.
However, government have always given its commitment and always through the years to reinstate the area. As I said, even though it's not a major fishing area now, while we do still have about 2 fishers operating, but it's for the social good of the residents. So today what we'll be having, also you have seen a heavy equipment on site, and so we will be restoring access to this area, making it more accessible for the elderly and anybody who wants to have access to have a simple bath. This is a concern the residents have had for some time, and I have asked them for their patience, and I want to also say I thank them for their patience. As you know, St.Jean is kind of a distance away, and heavy equipments are not always available in these areas. So I had to exercise patience myself, and God willing, I am thankful that we do have an operator who is willing to do the job, and as you would see, that he's already on site. And even between the course of today, that work will commence, and by tomorrow he will be able to complete the access to this wonderful and historic bay of St.Jean.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spice tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you're going out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. Various government departments have convened for a training workshop to understand and utilize Domin Node, Dominica's GeoNode, which is an open source platform for sharing geospatial data and maps. Over the 5-day training, government departments will be familiarized with the interface of the geospatial content management systems for greater use and publication of geospatial data.
Today is a training session that we are having with the department officials from various departments in Dominica. So it's training that has started initially around February, late February. So it was online training that first started. Now we are doing the in-person rounds. So it's basically us equipping the staff from various departments with GIS skills that will be able to assist them to be able to collect data, manage data properly in various databases, and also in the various platforms that have been created that they will be using. So there's a platform called Domin Node. So that platform is based on an open source software, which is GeoNode, and that allows everyone who has access to the site, especially with the government officials, since they are the ones working with the data sets, to be able to upload data sets and also be able to manage the data sets properly and also avoid duplication of data sets.
This will increase the availability of data and resources needed to make a well-informed decision concerning the affairs of the country.
So it's basically just restructuring, helping them to be able to restructure their system so that they'll be able to properly manage their data sets and also allow them and give them the advantage to be able to make proper decisions. So once they have these data sets, once they've done the analysis and everything is presented well in those various platforms, then they'll be able to give any government official who is higher up to say, hey, look, I think this area, looking at what's happening, we might need street lights, for example, because we don't see any street lights. We might need proper sewage for this area because looking at the map that we've created and using it online, you can see that something is wrong, but that area has. So it will ultimately help with proper decision making and be able to provide the necessary services that the country will need based on what they are doing currently.
Domin Node was conceptualized in October 2020 to provide accurate details about geographic information in Dominica.
The initial part of the project was to be able to start over and move from what they were currently using to something new. So that also involved the process of creating platforms for them that we were hosting for them and then showing them how they can be able to use them and maintain them, and also be able to recreate their topographic maps from the old ones that they had to new ones and show them how they can style them so that they can better represent what is currently present.
Thus far, Domin Node has produced positive results.
It's important to always be conscious of what's happening in your environment. So GIS and remote sensing as tools allow us to be able to look at the world differently and see what can be used or what can we do to use what we have to be able to change what everything that we have in our environment for the future. So I'd say maybe for Dominica to be able to benefit from what we are doing and for the future as well.
Data management tools built into GeoNode will allow for integrated creation of data, metadata, and map visualizations. Each data set in the system can be shared publicly or restricted to allow access to only specific users.
As a country, it's going to be beneficial for us. Usually persons come to the various departments, let's say at the London Service Division, and they request certain maps, or they may go to the Physical Planning Division and request certain maps. What these platforms allows is for the different departments to host different types of data sets on this platform. So instead of making your way across to come down to town or to come to London Service for a particular data set, you can go on the Domin Node platform and access that data set. And then you can see other data sets that are helpful. Maybe you might want roads, maybe where the trails are, or whatever data set that you need. So it allows persons to save time, during transportation or transit, or for accessing data, where they can just go online and access different types of data sets that can be made public to persons.
Following the completion of the upgrade, Domin Node will be completely online to supply geographic information on Dominica. To explore the site and access further information, visit www.dominode.dm. The Dominica Association of Teachers has recognized retired educators for their sterling contribution to the education sector over the years. These educators have committed to building strength and ensuring the holistic development of every child in their care. They were awarded at the DAT's 17th Biennial Convention held on Wednesday, April 3, 2024. The association aims to restructure and continue honoring the dedication and hard work of educators in Dominica.
We really want to thank them. And when I calculated over 200 years of service to education in Dominica, I think just among 6 of them, more than 200 years put together of service. We thank you for your contribution.
The late Mr. Valentine Telemac, who passed away on August 30, 2023, was also posthumously awarded.
Mr. Valentine Telemac was the deputy principal of the Northeast Comprehensive Secondary School. Mr. Telemac was a member of the National Executive of the DAT and served in the capacity of the Assistant Treasurer. He was a great asset to the DAT's operations as his skills in computer literacy and accounting greatly enhanced the operations of the union. At the Caribbean Union of Teachers Conference held in July last year, Mr. Telemac was chosen to serve on the Strategic Planning and Industrial Relations Committee of that body. His soft-spoken manner made it easy to get along with him. The DAT will always remember the contributions made by Mr. Telemac to the DAT's general body and the national executive.
President of the Dominica Association of Teachers, Mr. Mervyn Alexander, emphasized the importance of acknowledging and honoring individuals who have made significant contributions to society while they are still alive, urging the public to show appreciation and recognition before it is too late.
Recognize no people whilst they are alive and strong, not after they're dead and stone cold in the coven to say all the good things about them. We have someone on our national executive who has given over 20 years of service to the national executive. And he has served in the capacity of treasurer for a very long time. Yeah. So, he has given very valuable service. So, We want to say a special thank you to Mr. Coppell and to recognize him.
Among the retired awardees present were Miss Kathleen John Lewis.
Mrs. John Lewis began her teaching career in 1989 and retired in 2022. She taught at the Saludia Primary School and retired as principal at the Senegal Primary School, having received UB certificates in record management, leadership management, resource management, educational leadership, and primary education. The Dominica Association of Teachers recognizes your many years of service, Mrs. John Lewis, and today we recognize you. Thank you for service to education.
Mrs. Christy Graham.
Mrs. Graham began her teaching career in 1981 and retired in 2023. 42 years of service at the St. Luke's Primary School. She received the Teacher of Excellence Award from the Ministry of Education in 2012 and 2014. And she also served as Vice Principal and also on the management team at St. Luke's Primary. Congratulations, Mrs. Graham. The GAT recognizes you today.
Mrs. Diane Murray Banis.
Trinidadian by birth and married to a Dominican. Dominica is her home. She has given 34 years of service at the Convent High School. The Dominica Association of Teachers recognizes your years of service and rewards you today. Congratulations.
The other retired awardees were Miss Ann Cochran, Mrs. Martha Stevenson, and Mrs. Monlight Nanton. The Government Information Service wishes to congratulate all the awardees for their invaluable contributions to the education sector. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production Team, I am Aaliyah Martin. Thank you for watching.